Zou ik hier misschien even een bad kunnen nemen?
Dat klinkt helemaal niet goed. Goedemiddag.
Ik ken uw vrouw.
Wie is dat?
Goedemiddag. Ik kom me aanbieden als tuinman.
Komt u binnen.
Welcome back, weary travelers. We're here in another episode of What Doesn't Kill Us, a horror movie podcast that's part of our Fight or Flight network. Here we take one movie and we do an in-depth review of it, giving ratings, what we felt about it, all kinds of good stuff. So sit back, drink a nice cup of hot cocoa, and let us take you on a journey, shall we? Tonight we have with us two other people, Noel and Crystal, one of our regular horror aficionados. You guys want to say something?
Hello. Hello. Hi, it's me. It's Crystal.
So, oh, sorry, no.
Yeah, the other voice is Noel.
The other.
Check, please.
So last week we said we were gonna do. We changed movies all of a sudden because I finally remembered the actual movie I wanted to recommend. I think we said we were gonna do what
We are
what we are.
Also, I just got the Spanish version in the mail, so
Oh wow,
I'm gonna check that out. I'll compare. I'll give you guys notes.
All
See if it's
right.
worth it.
But yeah, after talking to them for a while, I remembered the actual movie I wanted everybody to watch, so we kind of switched it up on people. It's called BORGMAN. It is a modern, dark fairy tale. So I guess we'll jump in and do the regular format where we do our real quick reviews. I can go ahead and start on it. I absolutely love this movie. I'm a big fan of fairy tales, and especially dark fairy tales, and I really like modern adaptations, and I thought like this was a really good kind of... The whole movie kind of leads you on for a long time of, is this magical and mysterious, or are these just crazy gypsies? And I thought it was done really well. It was kind of a slower film, but not so much that you want to fall asleep or anything. So, I mean, I really like this. Even the second time watching it again for this review, knowing everything that was going on, I still was like into the journey, trying to pick up things. So I would give this movie a 7. I really love it.
Okay.
So that's my review.
Cool. For me personally, I just got done finishing it maybe a couple hours ago. I would give it a 6, and it doesn't mean I didn't like it. It means I did like it. It was super interesting. I love the allegory within it. It's filmed well. The actors are very intriguing. I draw a lot of parallels to different things we've seen. Like, it's in the vein of like a Dogtooth or a Funny Games.
Yeah.
And I like the visual style of the film. I like that it was kind of English and was it Belgian?
I think yeah.
Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch. Very interesting. I did enjoy the mystery behind it, although there's a lot of mystery behind it. So I hope that we can unravel some of this with you guys, because I am a little confused by some of this stuff, and I think maybe I'm supposed to be. But yeah, my rating is a 6 for now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna separate out. Well, I'm not gonna give 2 ratings, but this is a case where the quality of the film and my reaction, I feel, are so disparate. They're so different, and I don't mean to be controversial, but
No, please be controversial.
I give this a solid 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
So that was like, I know it's a well-made film, and I think that the filmmakers were doing, they got what they wanted. I don't feel like it was compromised in any way, but in terms of the reaction, in terms of how it impacted me, it was negligible.
Okay.
So 3 or 4. So I'm it's it's a particular kind of rating, I guess, I'm giving. Very
Well,
personal.
that's totally fine
Yeah.
because I feel like all of our ratings are going to be very personal.
Yeah,
We'll explain
I
why.
mean, even my rating is too. It's like I said, I love fairy tales and I love dark fairy tales, and so even if it is slightly fairy tale-tastic, its rating goes up 2 points for me. Just end of story.
Well, I
It's
think
gonna at least get a buffer of 2.
I'd love to, maybe you guys can convince me, change my feeling about it over the course of the conversation, because it is pretty open. But I guess before, you've mentioned fairy tale a lot in relationship to the film, since we've been recording, and you mentioned it before that you saw it that way. I don't fully understand why you see it that way, and I think others have described it this way too. So I feel like I need to understand a little bit better
Okay.
why you kind of put
Yeah,
it in
'cause
that category.
I also was confused by that. It seemed a bit more. I mean, it's definitely an allegory, and I think it might be a religious one more than a fairy tale.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never even thought of that.
I'm going to get into it. So there's all these things that have been revolving around the film, and like names that they're using and things that they're saying that seem a bit like a bit religious. But Mons, what do we want to do? Do we want to do a little summary of the film in case people have no idea what this is about?
A real quick summary, because I don't want it to last on forever, and I don't feel like this one needs to go in detail like some of the other ones do. Just real quick, it starts off with a couple of vagrants that are being shooed away at gunpoint, actually, from some local villagers, and you never exactly know why, but they just kind of wake up in their little hidey holes in the woods and run away, and then one of them goes to several different doors asking if he can, get a bite to eat and take a shower because he's been on his feet all day, and most people just slam the door in their face, and then one dude just completely flips out on him, and so he decides that's his mark. And from that point on, the dude that flips out on him is, it's a husband and wife, and the husband just, beats the ever-loving daylights out of him. So the wife comes back later, and she kind of, out of fear, I guess, of him going to the cops, I'm not exactly sure what her motives are.
I think motives, I don't think you can define motives at all in this film. At least
I don't know if she feels sorry for him
yeah,
or...
it's not clear.
I have a theory about this too.
Okay, but anyway, she takes him in, gives him a bath, kind of cleans him up, and then she's kind of lonely, so she has him hang around for a while, and it gets to the point where she doesn't want him to leave because she's kind of she's growing an attachment for him, and so they end up killing the gardener so that he can become the new gardener. And it just keeps going from there, where she thinks he's gonna whisk her away and take her away.
Does?
Yeah, I mean, they talk about it, and she tries to make out with him a few times, and he's like, "No, I will not make out with a married woman,
No, I will not make out with you.
but our time will come," kind of thing. And
But
he
does
leaves.
but does she specifically say "take me away"? She might, and I missed it.
I don't know if anything like that is actually said.
insinuated. I don't know. I don't remember if they
know.
actually say it.
Well,
I think she just wants to have a straight up affair with this dude.
yeah,
Because he does say, there is a point where she does try to make out with him, and he's like, "Oh, I would never make out with a married woman," but he says something like "soon" or something like that.
Well, yeah,
to insinuate
but soon
her.
making out and having sex. But I think we should say it's from 2013, and it's a director and writer named Alex van Warmerdam, and it's
So happy you said that
and it's Dutch.
instead of me trying to pronounce that.
I just I made that up. And this is like his 8th film, but this is the first of his films to be released, to be seen, in this country or readily available. So I think that we're dealing here with a director, writer who's got a very specific vision, and we haven't seen his work. My suspicion is he's well known, I don't know, in Europe or other places. The other thing that's really interesting, I think, is that he is in the movie. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh no.
He
Oh,
plays.
is he?
He's the older henchman. He's the gray-haired older of the two.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's like in it.
Ludwig or Pascal.
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
guys.
Pascal, I think, was the younger one.
So that's weird in a way. I don't know why I find that weird, but he's like right in the middle of the whole thing somehow. And then it also should be said that this was nominated for the Palme d'Or, the Golden Palm, at Cannes in, I guess, 2013, 2014. I mean, that's the top honor at Cannes. So
Yes.
this is major to be nominated. So again, I realize that my low rating is my own personal issue, because clearly,
So controversial.
yeah, the film community, at least the Europe, really thinks very highly of this film. So anyway, I just wanted to get those things out of the way, and I think we're in, I don't know, suburban.
Not even quite suburban. It is super upper middle class.
Yeah.
But
They
it
are,
is out in the country. It's not urban.
Yeah, it's kind of in the country area, but it's like the rich country area.
I mean, they have an
They have a
there.
nice estate.
They have a nice little estate, although it's very IKEA. It's so bland.
Yeah.
It's so
and
IKEA, but they're in the Netherlands. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just want to give those basic things, just to give us
Definitely.
a framework.
This film also, it reminds me of so many other films I've been seeing lately. Time Crimes is one of them. If you've ever seen that, it's really good. Similar kind of, very comfortable country estate, and the main character gets kind of torn away from his domestic lifestyle. In a not a similar fashion, because it's about time crimes, but that's very similar to me. Dogtooth was really I don't know if you guys have seen that yet.
I don't know. You've mentioned Dogtooth before. I don't even know of that movie.
Okay, so Dogtooth is this movie that came out a couple years ago, and the plot is such that it's the strangest family possible who's like on purpose taught their kids things wrong. I don't know, as a joke, I'm not sure.
It's gonna mess with my kids.
So it's like a very strange, surreal movie with, the children act very similarly in this, and they're not under a spell or anything. It's just because they've been taught everything wrong. And it's lit very much like this. I feel like the cinematography was very, maybe it's just the way the Netherlands has been filming things. Also, Human Centipede is filmed like this. I don't know if you remember, but in the house scenes.
Oh my goodness, it's been so long.
It's very similar color palette.
Interesting.
And architectural design, and although it's like a terrible film, that was something that I found very, very similar to this. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that before we get into the meat.
Okay.
I mean, I know all about Dogtooth, but I've been avoiding seeing it because it sounds like the kids are abused, but that's not really true, is it?
I mean, yeah, they're abused in that everything is taught to them wrong.
Okay,
But-
so it's not like, because I have a hard time with child abuse type stuff, but it's not really like, it's not harsh.
It's not as harsh as you think. It's different.
Okay, all right, well then, and Time Crimes, it says that Time Crimes is coming out in 2016. Oh no, wait, Time Crimes is in development, so.
Maybe it's a remake.
Oh, no, here it is, 2007, okay.
That I highly recommend to both of you guys.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's just been a really long time. I don't remember like how it was filmed or anything.
It's in
Oh,
Spanish,
it's so
right?
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, from Spain, that's good. Time Crimes, 2007, okay. Maybe the English version is in development.
Well, that makes sense. It's such a strong story. I'm surprised that they hadn't made it sooner.
Yeah.
Um,
And very
but anyway,
good reviews.
Mottons, do you want to get into the meat?
Well, since you guys were questioning the fairy tales, we
Yeah.
could talk about some of the things right there.
Oh yeah, tell me what your theories are, and then I will tell you what mine are.
Okay. Well, there were a few. I mean, they do have a couple fairy tales you always hear about the lonely peasant person asking for a scrap of bread, and
That's right.
and
yeah.
it's the whole like what's that saying, like, once you let the devil into your house, you'll get nothing but trouble, kind of, and all those deals with the devil.
Well, yeah, once you give a mouse a cookie,
Wait,
Sure.
what?
he's good.
Wait, did you just make that up, or is that an actual
No,
saying?
it's a children's book.
There's lots of fairy tales about the devil knocking at your door and making deals with the devil, which is what she kind of did when she was saying, like, when she was doing all this stuff to get rid of her husband and not trusting the kind of deal you make, because it did bite her in the butt in the end. There's also the what were their names, Ludwig and Pascal, coming in early as the Irish wolfhounds, like wolf in sheep clothes kind of things. There's the illusion that the main character is actually a what was it called, like a Mora or a night hag, and that is actually a Scandinavian folklore.
Oh, okay.
A night hag?
When he was sitting on her chest naked, she would always have the nightmares when he was sitting on her chest. That's an old Scandinavian. Actually, it's in lots of cultures. It's how they. You can see the pictures too of like people will draw pictures of little demons sitting on your chest while you sleep.
You saw my short film, right?
Your short film? Oh yeah, with the trash bag.
Wait, what?
No, I gotta send this to you later.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
We'll get back to it.
Garbage bag.
Sorry, Mons. Go ahead.
No, but it's how a lot of the early folklore and everything described sleep paralysis and nightmares. They believed that a demon was sitting on your chest projecting nightmares into you, and so that was one of the images in the video is almost a perfect rendition of one of the most famous paintings of a night hag, of him sitting over there kind of with like in a weird, like, coiled up.
You just squatted,
and his fingers are close to his mouth, and he's kind of looking to the side, and that is a famous picture of a night hag sitting over a woman giving her nightmares. And then there's also like the changelings theories where, the fae people take your children away from you because you can't control them. They either, for several different, like European history is mostly they swap them out, but there's a lot of other stories where changelings, like fae or magical people, just think you aren't treating your children properly or you don't know how to take care of them, so they just kidnap them.
Interesting.
So, I mean, there are a lot of parallels to old fairy tales, especially Scandinavian ones.
Yeah.
But a lot of these were prevalent in almost every culture because all fairy tales were written about things that people couldn't understand, and all people around the time couldn't understand just about the same things. Like, why do we have nightmares?
I did wonder if the local audience, if the Dutch or the Northern European audience would understand this or have a better understanding of what's going on, and that makes me think that these images might mean more, because those are fairy tales that don't ring a bell to me.
I mean, the night hag was really big. That's kind of one of their big boogeymen. The other ones are more like far-fetched, or not far-fetched, but less known, kind of like the changelings and stuff like that are a little less known. But night hags were really prevalent in the early 1800s.
I can't put a year on it, and I'm not going to fact check you.
Well, that's the only reference I was able to pick up, was the guy sitting on the woman while she slept, and it's from a famous painting called The Nightmare from 1781.
Oh, there you go. You even know what there you go.
Yeah, Henry, and it's Henry Fuseli, and he's Anglo-Swiss, so yeah, Northern European. It's a famous image. Did you guys ever see Gothic by Ken Russell with Natasha Richardson? It's really bad, but that's sort of the main one of the main images. It's a little like grinning dwarf with really horrible.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah,
sitting on the woman, and she's passed out, and then in the background there's the nag, the horse, the actual nightmare. I mean, it's kind of campy. It's a little bit kitsch, but it's that was the only reference though I knew, and I didn't even realize that image probably existed before the painting did. Like you were saying, Monica, this is something prevalent in the culture.
Oh, that one goes back. I was reading about it. It goes back like back to the Old Norse, really far back.
Yeah.
Yes, and
because nightmares are something that has plagued everyone from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Yes, and specifically in my case, I suffer from sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
so
I remember. Yeah.
Wait a minute, are you serious?
I'm serious. So that painting was by what did you say his name was? Vasily?
Yeah.
He actually experienced night terrors too, and there's all these kinds of themes that they say appear in women's dreams and nightmares when that happens versus men's. Like men will see the horse, and women will basically it's like having an incubus visit. And
actually, those I think I read somewhere that they are supposed to be related to incubi and succubi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that, and that's what my short film is about. So I'm going to share that with you, Noel. It's terrifying. So seeing that imagery come to life here, I was like, oh,
I feel like I should
and...
explain to the audience, though. I know of this because Crystal and I used to be roommates, and
Yeah.
she used to tell me tales of waking up, and we thought one of our rooms was possessed when we were in college.
And then it turned out it was just Crystal that was possessed.
Yes.
Well,
that's why I moved out.
Oh no.
Well, there was a lot of ghost stories in our dormitory.
Oh really?
Anyway, but on top of that, we were like making up new things because I was actually waking up and not being able to move often.
Oh my God! Have you watched the documentary, The Nightmare?
I'm getting ready to watch it. It looks exactly like what I feel.
Jesus
So
Christ.
it's terrifying. But yes, I'm sorry, Monica. Are you done with your?
Yeah,
I
just wanted to go into the fairy tale aspect of it because that's the thing that I love the most about it, and I feel like out of those fairy tales that I picked up on, I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones that when I was watching it, I'm like, oh snap, that's awesome. So those are the things I wanted to bring out that I liked about the film because I felt like they brought it out enough for those who know of these fairy tales to pick up on it, but they didn't throw it in your face with like wands and magic missiles and stuff like that. And I thought it made it a lot more elegant and a lot more realistic. Like if fairy tales were true, this would be how they would go about.
You've totally convinced me that in the sense that I'm not aware of that history, and I wish I had been able to key into that stuff because it would have given it some kind of framework, to interpret it, that it's an updating of, because it does start in a more rustic, like it could be the first part where this Borgman and his tribe are being chased away.
And you notice too, they're being chased away by a priest.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more like it's
so I
coming
feel
from
like
a different
that
movie.
was when they were being chased away by the priest. I feel like that was insinuating too the whole parable about letting the devil into your house, is that a priest was chasing them away, meaning to me that Borgman should be associated with the devil.
Yeah.
So from the very beginning, like I didn't trust him, even though he's just like this sweet old man that's like trying to, just get a bowl of soup and some bread and a bath. I'm like, no, don't let him into your house. He's like a devil of some sort.
Yeah, definitely.
So I feel like that was good placement, having a priest chase him out instead of just like some random villager, because then it just would have looked like a lynch mob or something. But having it as a priest, it kind of brings up that early feeling that either something's really wrong with that priest or there's something wrong with the characters.
It's a psychotic priest, or the person he's chasing is the devil.
Well, I love imagery where a priest has a shotgun.
Yeah.
Let's just begin there. So I totally agree with you, Mom.
Oh, sorry. We should just specify there were 3 people. It was a priest, and a different guy had the gun, and then who was the third guy? I don't know, but they were of indeterminate period, so you could have been going into a more overtly fairy tale movie, but then of course it turns very naturalistic and very IKEA, kind of.
But with that intro, they could have been trying to give you a old school feel.
Right. Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Get you in the mindset of the old fairy tales.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah, when the gas station is revealed, you're like, oh, okay, I know what time it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, now we're in kind of a different world, or a more specific world. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Crystal, you were going to say something.
Oh, no problem. So, Mom, I totally agree with you. Like this. Also, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that this is a more on the religious side, more than just a general devil or Baba Yaga or whatever you want to call it. It seems to me like, first of all, there's a quote at the beginning that seems a little bit biblical, and it says something like, I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's something about we're going to come down from the sky and something to do with like make more of ourselves.
Yeah. And multiply or something.
It sounds like we are legion, and the priest is the one that wakes him up, that fights him in the beginning. So that's evidence of religiousness. The name he picks when he comes back as the gardener is Camiel, and I don't know if you remember this, Mons, but that's one of the archangels
Oh.
that actually kicked Eve out of the Garden of Eden.
I
Yes.
know a lot about the Bible, but I don't know that much.
So interesting. So he's basically both the archangel and the snake that lures her out from the Garden of Eden. So she's Eve, and Richard, I think his name is Adam.
Sorry, I just found the quote. It says, "And they descend upon the earth to strengthen their ranks."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much, yes. Exactly. So that's a bit like, okay,
So
they're gathering recruits.
Mhm.
And descend.
And that's what those children were, basically. They found the
Mhm.
pure of heart ones.
Yes, and the fact that they descend makes me think of fallen angels. And then I think from the very beginning, and you guys were talking about like what are people's motivations, I was confused by that too. But I think from the very beginning, as soon as he said, "I know your wife," that's when the game started. He knew that he was going to beat the crap out of him. He knew that he was going to get the wife's eye, and he knew that he can let himself in. I think the whole time he was glamoring them, if you want to use True Blood terms, into manipulating in every single step of the way. That's why the woman keeps coming back to him, keeps having dreams about her husband beating her when he's like a totally cool dude.
I love too that they make you think at the beginning that the husband is just like this over aggressive, abusive husband, and then you find out the wife is really the bad one.
Well, I think they're both driven to madness.
They're both...
I don't think either of them are crazy before that meeting.
I kind of thought she was.
It doesn't seem like they are.
There's a point where something happens and she's like, "Oh, we got to clean this up real quick for the husband." And he walks in and he's like, "I don't care about this. You're the one that cares about this." Yeah. When like the gardener spills something. So I was like, "Oh, so is she the actual like obsessive compulsive abusive one?" I don't know.
I think so, or at least it started then when every day it's a different, like wildly different mood, and you see this husband and you think, "Oh, what's he done?" And I think the whole time he's been the one who's been abused, and it's really sad. Like he's a nice man, he's like a good father, and he provides for his family.
Provide for his family,
and she feels a lot of white guilt about having this bourgeois lifestyle, and he's like clearly racist, and it's like,
yeah, he's really repellent. He's nice to his kids, but he's a total racist. That is clearly not under the effect of Borgman and his tribe. That's straight up.
Definitely. Also, another thing I just saw right now is that the greyhounds. When you see those dogs, they're the only dog breed mentioned by name in the Bible.
I thought they were Irish wolfhounds.
I don't know, but they looked like fluffy greyhounds. They didn't look big enough to be Irish wolfhounds. Well, I don't know. You can fact check me later.
I trust you. That's cool.
I'll just say that was my favorite part of the movie was the appearance of those beautiful, beautiful dogs. I was like, I really thought that it was going to be a movie where we were going to see more animals, and I was just so disappointed. It was such a tease that they only became animals once. Yeah,
I wish there was a little bit more shape-shifting, but it was very interesting how they were very subtle about it when they were working together as friends. There's another note about some religious backing to this, in that when he's telling the children a story, he says something like, because Jesus Christ was like boring, right? And just something like something hilariously off color, and the kids don't even react. But it just seems to solidify both fairy tales and heavy religious themes.
And I mean, they could be saying in the sense, like religion is a fairy tale.
Sure.
Could be, well, not like they're insulting it, but they're just like, oh, we're pulling from all this like lore, everything, religious and folklore.
definitely. I have a couple of notes. Those buckets, very effective. I like the people garden at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh!
That was messed up. I'm like, that is effective. I was hoping to see like a whole sea of like a garden of people pots.
Well, you gotta keep them on the move.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
lakes,
sure.
Crystal. Different lakes.
Do we want to
Sure.
tell the listeners what that is, or would that be a spoiler?
No,
mean, we've spoiled
in this
everything.
one we spoil. It's the other one we try not to spoil.
So basically, when they go to get rid of somebody,
And they get
The
rid of a
gardener.
lot of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
They put
the
their
gardener
head.
is the first one, right?
Yes. So he has poison darts, and that kills them. And then to get rid of the bodies, they end up putting their heads in a bucket and then putting cement into the bucket and then dropping them in the bottom of a river or something. So the imagery is very interesting because they're just
Which
floating
is
upside down.
obviously not a permanent solution, but because these guys are constantly on the move, they're not worried about permanent solutions. They only care about temporary ones.
Mm-hmm.
Long enough for them to get in, get out, get their stuff, and go.
Get what
The
stuff?
body-
That's my question.
Get their people, because they're getting more numbers.
Okay.
They're
Oh, right. That's
what was
that.
it? They're trying to get more.
To strengthen their
I already
ranks.
strengthening their ranks. Yeah, I was like, I already forgot what the quote was.
No,
so
but
I think that
that
they had
makes
to
sense.
separate for a while because they were chased out of that home. So then they're just trying to find each other again. And if they can recruit some more people, the better.
So I do think it should be said, the only difference between the entrance of Borgman and his tribe, whatever you want to call them, demons, archangels, fairy, malignant fairies, the entrance of Borgman and his tribe into the lives of this suburban Dutch family and their exit at the end of the movie, the only difference is that they have they take the 3 children and they take the babysitter.
They were successful this time. I feel like when we first saw them come in, they got had. Like somebody caught on to them. Whereas at this time, they were successful so they could just walk off with the kids because they actually accomplished what they were trying to do.
So my question is, is that, because that's the only thing that they gain from all of the stuff they go through, is the 3 kids and the babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, like...
Which sounds like a great sitcom.
What, 3 kids and a babysitter?
Yeah.
Abducting 3 kids and the babysitter?
Adventures in Babysitting.
I was like,
Adventure,
isn't that
yeah.
just Adventures in Babysitting?
Yes.
So, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Pun not intended. A lot of this film is the 3, Borgman, his 2 henchmen, and then it turns out there's 2 others, an older woman and a younger woman. So there's, 5 of them at ultimately.
Well,
before-
that we know of.
That we know of, yeah.
There could be more and they've just gotten separated.
So, why couldn't they? I know that this is an allegory, and I'm missing a lot. I missed a lot of the religious stuff, and I missed a lot of the fairy, the mythology stuff. But just in terms of just straight up naturalistic, what happens in the film, why don't they just walk into the house, kill everybody but the 3 children and the babysitter, and then leave?
And I think that's part of a whole, like a fae characteristic. A fairy can come in and just take what they want, but they don't. They enjoy messing with people.
But
Yeah,
of cour-
evil for evil's sake, not.
But of
So
course
he enjoyed watching poisoning the two wife and husband. He poisoned them with nightmares. He poisoned their thoughts, and he enjoyed watching them get to the point where she was willing to murder him, this man that she loved. So that's why I don't really. Not saying that they're not angels, but I feel more like he is like a demon or like a fae, because they just enjoy, they just have fun messing with people's lives.
Okay, but I hear what you're saying, but let me pause. This goes into acting style. This is a very unusual, and it's maybe more Northern European than anything else, but it's not something we usually see in American films. A lot of this movie is what we were actually saying, back to targets, of the story about the sniper so much of his story is just watching him do things and execute tasks. Most of this movie is watching Borgman and his tribe execute a series of tasks, and they do it in a very, everything's done very deliberate, specific, clean, clear, and emotionless way. So I love the idea of them taking pleasure out of torturing the family and psychologically creating chaos and destruction, particularly between the mother and father. But then, because they're playing in this particular performance style of just really no affect whatsoever. I mean, there's hardly any facial expressions on any of the demons, let's say, faces, or change in vocal tone or anything. It's so much about just... so I couldn't even see that, is what I'm saying. I would love to have seen that.
I think a lot of that, too, was just to keep you as the audience guessing if this guy is a good guy or a bad guy.
Well,
because if he does that fiendish grin, then you're like, oh, okay. But keeping him blank slate just kind of keeps you going, okay, is he actually going to do this garden and just leave and be like their fairy godmother, or is he going to be like a changeling and take the kids and murder them?
And I see what you're saying, Noel. I see it too. Style.
It definitely was just the random choice of the director, whatever his reasons may be.
And not even European, but any place other than America would dare to act like that.
I mean, what it really made me think of was Under the Skin, which is, I guess, an American European.
Yeah.
Because it's totally about I saw it as, okay, it's a tribe of people who are inhuman in some way, or they're a different race, a different species. They have to survive. They do what they need to do to survive, and a lot of the things they need to do to survive are horrifying to a human, but they're really just surviving. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers 2, particularly the 1978 version. It's like they're not coming to take joy in destroying. They're just doing what they have to do to survive. So, but that's horrifying in and of itself. The emotionlessness of that is quite scary, and it's probably most effective of all those movies in Under the Skin. The thing about Under the Skin is somebody changed.
Yeah,
she actually changes, and that's what's so frightening and so interesting and so engaging about that. Plus, we saw the world through her eyes. I have no idea what point of view we're supposed to see this movie from, Borgman. Are we looking at the world through the eyes of the family, the tribe, or just it's like some neutral third-party omniscient narrator? I have no idea.
I think it's the latter. I mean,
I just don't even...
You see everybody's world.
Yeah, I mean, you see a little bit from the point of Borgman, just enough to get the history of him, but from that point, it kind of switches to the wife.
I guess it is from the wife, yeah. I agree with that. But
it definitely starts... It definitely starts following Borgman, but then, as it goes on, it more switches to her point of view.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And occasionally the husband, but mostly the wife.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was so important or special about her. Nobody changes. The Borgman and his tribe are so powerful.
A lot of fairy tales are just based on the fact that you are the one that opened your door. Because it shows him going to several houses at the very beginning.
No, he only goes to one other house before he hits her.
I thought he went to a few.
No.
Well, they didn't say. They only show one.
Oh, I just assumed probably. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a fairy tale where the old hag walks around and knocks on lots of people's doors.
Miles, often I notice that your assumptions make the movie better.
I know. I love how you're filling it out.
Well, it's because I'm thinking of fairy tales where it's like, oh, the old hag walked to all these houses, and not only was this the one that opened the door, but it's the one that spit in their face.
But you're like a filmmaker's dream because they don't have to work hard enough to actually put these things on
fill
screen.
In all the blanks.
They're like, oh, what a great viewer, she gets me, and it's like,
I mean, I do agree that I would rather see your film, Monica, because it would have more detail and it would have more the excitement. The excitement of the way you're describing these fairy tales and this European history that you know so much more about than I do. The excitement with which you're creating that world just vocally is so much more interesting than the movie to me. It really, there's so little passion in the movie. I mean, there's a lot of fighting and there's a lot of angst, but there's no dramatic tension because the Borgman and his tribe are so powerful that nobody stands a chance. So there's no risk. There's never a risk for Borgman and his tribe. All we're doing is
except for
watching.
apparently whatever the first village did.
Well, it would have been nice to know what they did wrong.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I wish we could have seen somebody break from the spell somehow towards the...
I'm wondering if it has to do with them like kissing or like having sex or something, because both Borgman and Pascal have the chance to sleep with a woman and both go, no, not now.
No, I think it's clear that Pascal
totally did
did.
it.
Oh, I thought he did.
Oh no, he
No.
slept with that babysitter for sure.
Yeah, he was like, oh, the little guy's tired. He specifically said
He
that.
was that's Dutch for my penis.
You said Dutch extra loud and my penis extra
Soft.
which I love. If we don't have any, do we want to discuss some more? Do we want to talk about like moments of awesome?
I guess we could. I mean, we kind of hit some, but I guess we could say like favorite moments, least favorite moments.
Oh, let me just say, just in terms of what we were just talking about, I thought the husband was going to break away because he removed the tattoo.
Oh yeah.
He removed
Me
that
too.
tattoo. I had no fucking idea what that is.
Yeah.
But
think
I
they
thought
were just marking him as a target.
Right, but I thought because he removed it that the poison wasn't going to work. And I thought,
No, I think that's kind of one of the like the mark of the beast. Once you're marked, you're marked.
Well,
doesn't matter if you rip it away, you've still been marked.
Well, I guess so now, but I was hoping for something to go
yeah,
wrong.
no, I was too. I was hoping it would cure it, but then I'm like, no. I mean, once you've been marked, you are marked.
But I wanted to see what Borgman and his tribe would do if something didn't go their way, because there was nobody had stood a chance against them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
No, I agree.
This should be a TV show where we see like fails and successes.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
I mean, they could have done it in a film.
Mm-hmm. They could have in the beginning, instead of just had them running away, we could have at least seen why they failed.
Yeah.
Like maybe even the preacher just said something before he started chasing them.
And why didn't they chase him? Why didn't they find him? It seems like they would have been capable of finding out where they went.
They're mystical fae creatures, and they were running in the woods.
Well, again, Monica, I want to see your movie.
Yeah, it seems like the priest and those guys were living in the village, and they don't go out to the gas station.
Yeah,
because they're trapped in that world.
It's like the village, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, you said moments of awesome.
So moments of awesome. I guess I have them written down. Moments of awesome. I guess the buckets for me was pretty awesome. I also have a note about why they're gardening in their suits. It seems really hot outside.
It's like classy men.
Sure. And like moments of it's both awesome and terribleness is that play was
What the fuck is that
I
about?
love that play.
You love it?
So
I love
weird.
it.
I'm
because
sorry.
it was so weird.
Okay, wait a minute.
Monica?
I have a history of working in the experimental theater and directing experimental theater and
Monica?
dance. I've seen more fucked up shit on stage than you guys can
No,
even imagine.
no. I don't actually like it. Like I would never want to see it. But because it was so weird, it just added to the like otherworldliness of these characters for me. Like
Sure.
But wait a minute. I hear what you're saying. The part of the problem is they did with the little performance in the movie that we're talking about, where they, for some reason, they turn the garden into a big stage and they do an outdoor performance for the family. No reason, to the viewer who hasn't seen the movie, there's no explanation why. It's a very short thing, but it seems like it's a big dramatic moment that adds up to nothing. But they show so little of what they do on stage. That's the thing. They do with the stage production that they do with everything else in the movie. If I could have seen more of what this little dramatic performance was, I could have added up. But there's a little dance thing at the beginning with the tutus, and I guess that's funny that the guys are in suits and they're wearing tutus too. And then the second thing we see is this creature covered in that they're whipping, or sort of with little, with paper streamers. They're sort of whipping or pointing at some creature. One of their group playing a creature under a piece of fabric. And then the third thing we see is they've got signs, and one of the signs says "we are," and the other one says "I am." Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
It's so abstract. It's like I really want to have. I really was hoping that this little performance piece was going to help me add the movie together, but of course it just added. It's like what it's just. It's very much like David Lynch, where it's just. This isn't going to help you. This is going to actually make it worse. You know, this is
Like
actually
the last episode of Twin Peaks.
any episode of Twin Peaks. I'm sorry. Or
No,
like
I
we're going to
like
go to
it
the
because
Twin
night.
Peaks is amazing.
I liked it too because I feel like it was saying, because it was leading up to like the worst, like the death scene in the movie. Where
Yes, it's true.
the
I mean, yeah,
murder's
it
about
was,
to happen.
yeah.
It's that great tension scene where you know people are about to die, and these people know it because they're causing it, and yet they're having a celebration and they're doing a performance saying like, "We are monsters. I am whatever," and it's this celebration, and even during the murder, they're drinking wine, they're playing the piano, like this is their fun night.
Yes, it's true, and they get up and dance. But
And that's to me when they felt most like fae creatures, was because this was the darkest part of the movie, and they were like dancing and having a performance and playing the piano, drinking wine,
yeah.
like
Of course, they do it all in the acting style of absolutely no facial expression at all. So if the party starts and there's no expression on their faces, and I guess that's supposed to be like under the skin. It's supposed to be make us disturbed and unnerved, but it was just like it continued. The movie got increasingly more and more boring because you could see that we're just watching mechanics. We're just watching people go through a set of activities that they do to get what they want, and somebody, I heard some people talking, a podcast about people talking about In the Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter film. Have you guys seen
I
that?
love that movie.
I love that movie. And they were saying,
Yes.
That was gonna be one of my 31 days.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to give it away, but one of the
Still
people,
can be.
Yeah.
one of the people who was talking about the film was saying it's not good because all we do is watch Sam Neill's character. He's a rat in a maze, and he doesn't have the power to fight against.
Change his
yeah, he doesn't have the power to change anything. That there's no. He was saying the same thing about that movie as I'm saying about this movie. But my contention is that there's very few rats as interesting as Sam Neill, right? Like that's a rat I want to watch.
Yeah.
And the world he goes through is so rich and fascinating. And In the Mouth of Madness, the journey he goes through is about so many things. You know what I mean? So it is mechanics. He doesn't stand a chance. But I'm learning so much. And John Carpenter is, of course, making comments about so many things as we go. Whereas this, it was a petri dish.
Yes.
But anyway, I've made my point. So that's that. Moments of
I
awesome.
mean the style.
What?
The style of John Carpenter is nothing but delight to me at every
me
turn.
too.
So I totally get what you're saying. This was more of a.
This is not that.
It seemed like a very interesting cinematic exercise.
It's definitely foreign.
in every way.
Definitely foreign.
But I wonder if the average Dutch person is going to say, is going to have liked it. It might be an art film
Well,
for them
I
too.
mean,
That has no.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it did get
It
a
could
lot
be.
of like rave review, but
it's
in the
true.
art community, I don't know how it did in like just the general public.
Definitely not a commercial offering. I doubt it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I bet it's more of a fringe cinema piece.
But I still feel like I should have some responsibility to come up with at least one moment of awesome. The dogs. I guess I did mention the entrance
The
of
dogs
the
were like a very like beautiful scene to me. Just the random chaos inside this controlled environment. You're like, oh snap, there are giant dogs wandering around in my house.
But they're
I was so intrigued when I saw them too.
The dogs were so well behaved.
I know.
So pretty.
So beautiful, my God. See, I would have liked that performance piece to have been a moment of awesome. I was really hoping. I had my fingers crossed. I think I liked the daughter I liked of Borgman's tribe. I really enjoyed watching the older woman with the younger woman. I don't know if they're related or what their relationship was, but they were a little bit more comic, a little bit more, because the younger girl, when the younger girl screws up and doesn't kill one of the people she's supposed to kill, that I thought was one of the more interesting moments, because there was actually some tension and conflict within the Borgman tribe. That the older woman looked at her like, you royally fucked up. So I thought, okay.
And I actually wondered if, because she was kind of new to the ropes, if she was the daughter or if she was another child they had taken and now they're like teaching her to become one of them.
Yeah. No,
so they didn't really say it other than she's learning the ropes now. I didn't know if it was like, oh, she's come of age and she's her actual daughter, or was she another child they've taken?
It's going to be hard to train that babysitter to kill people, because that babysitter was about the sweetest, most lovely young woman I've ever seen I liked watching her because she was just so...
Yeah, she was really cute.
Oh, God, she's so beautiful.
What were you going to ask?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were...
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm done. That's my moments of awesome. Sorry, that was it.
Okay.
So, I mean, nitpicks, I think we've all kind of talked about. Well, I mean, Monica, what is your nitpick?
I mean, I agree with Noel a little bit when it comes to the acting. I love the ambiguousness of the characters. But yeah, at some points I felt like there should have been more emotion there. But I don't know, I did kind of still like it because it just made them otherworldly to me, like Under the Skin, where I'm just like, she's not human because she doesn't have any emotions. So I
Monica,
kind of liked it and didn't like it for that point.
Okay. Did you like that play because of Vulva and Rabbit?
Because of what?
Rabbit?
There's this show called Spaced. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, I love Space.
Yeah.
Rabbits.
Rabbit.
A cleaning spray.
Like that girl.
Yeah.
What?
Monica actually went as that girl.
Halloween one year because I look a lot like her.
But of course, nobody knew what the reference was.
My bosses at the time were actually from the UK and immediately knew who I was.
Really?
They're like, oh my God,
I've
look
talked
like
to
her.
people from England who don't know that show at all. They think it's a cult show there. So imagine here, we're like the only three people.
But they were big nerds too.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of in the same stuff.
Big nerds.
Yeah,
rabbits.
And then we're like, oh my God, you're Daisy. You totally look like her.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
Yeah, I know.
No,
now we have to start quoting Spaced.
I brought, because me and Crystal worked in the same office at the time, and I brought a cardboard box and tied a leash to it because Daisy wasn't allowed to have a dog, so she had like a cardboard box she named, and so I did that. That was that Colin, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I walked around with a cardboard box on a leash.
I think my favorite is when Blondie is riding a skateboard and he bumps into the who we find out is the vivisectionist. What is he? He's a you remember when Colin gets kidnapped?
Oh, the Hampstead Heath, the guy who
when he's riding a skateboard and he
kill rich people or something.
He bumps into the guy and the guy says, "Why don't you watch where you're going?" And what's his name? The Blondie. Who's that actor's name?
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. He says that it takes the fun out of it. And then he says, I'm sorry, I just take this route every day and I never see an evil, suspicious man standing there. And the guy says, what makes you think I'm evil and suspicious? And Simon Pegg says, all right, I'm just being friendly. That exchange, oh my God. That show is brilliant. So everybody and everybody listening, don't watch Borgman. Go watch Space ASAP.
Yeah.
All 12 episodes.
Spaced. It's so good.
Anyway, sorry about that. You got me excited there.
No, it's great. And as soon as Monica said I loved it, I was like, rabbit.
Well, I loved
That's all I
it
can
because
think of.
it still kind of said to me, like, these aren't normal people because this is the kind of play they like. So it made me like...
It just seems like something...
It was almost like a freak show play, like not normal.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, it made me... I don't like the play. I like that that's what their idea of a play was.
Well, let me just say...
Yeah,
Sorry, Crystal.
I was just going to say, it seems like a cheap version of a... what is that artist? that
Don't know.
jeez.
Could be any
I
number
think
of
you know who he
artists.
is.
Oh, I'm thinking
just a second.
of
I'm gonna look him up.
artist in Spaced. The dude who like dresses in all blue and
No, there's a specific artist, and I actually went to his exhibit. God, what is his name? He's famously avant-garde.
Well,
Jeez.
that covers a lot of people.
I
Do you
So
remember
I
where you
wide
saw it?
range. Huh?
Well, let me just say while you're looking that up, as a theater person,
Sure,
there are two major theater pieces that are being referenced by this outdoor performance. One of them is Hamlet, because in Hamlet, the players come and they basically do a dumb show, a play without words, that is actually referencing or recapitulating what's happening in Hamlet, in the play itself, or what happened before the play started. So it's very meta within the play of Hamlet itself. So I was expecting whatever they were going to do to somehow reference the family or somehow reflect what's going on within the house, but then it
know
didn't.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, what and then
Like I was expecting that story he was going to tell the little girl to do that. Like I was waiting for the meta-ness in the little fairy tale he was going to tell the little girl, and I don't know, there might be, but I never caught it.
You mean on the stage play?
No, when he was telling the little girl a bedtime story.
Yeah, about the girl, about what is it? The white the girl in
The
white.
cloud.
The white child.
The
Yeah.
white child. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was just a story of like a pure child, which is what she's supposed to be, but I was waiting for it to be like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, kind of thing.
But then the youngest daughter kind of turned evil because she gave the father the poison, and she knew. They made it clear, I thought, by the way they filmed it.
Yeah,
that
she also
knew.
didn't rat on the fact that they were like killing people in the woods after the interviews.
Oh, right.
And
She helped kill him. Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
funny. I forgot about that.
She was like totally on his boat from the beginning.
That was a moment of awesome where the
Totally.
little girl killed the big man with a big stone. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the very beginning, she's like, "Mom, I just saw a magician." So it's like, "Oh, I guess this guy's a magician."
So
Okay,
you've
I
got to
found
go.
that artist. Yes, you got to go. I'm going with the magician. He's cooler than you guys. I found the artist. It's Mike Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Did you see the big
Super
retrospective of his work?
Mm-hmm.
Where was it?
It was like everything. I
Orange
saw it at the
County
MoMA
Museum?
PS1.
You said
That was in New York.
Oh, you saw it in New York? Yeah. I don't know what to make of his work. I don't think I like it.
It looks like somebody did. I wouldn't say I like it, but let me tell you something. I will never forget it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just so strange, but it seems like their play looks like something of that style, where it's a cheap version of his stuff, which is saying a lot because his stuff is very cheap looking.
Yeah, right. He made everything look cheap even when it wasn't. He committed suicide. It's so sad.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's very troubled, clearly.
Yeah, and it finally caught up with him. I think that retrospective was like after his death. I'm surprised they didn't mention it or make a. I mean, anyway, we don't. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know who he was. Yeah, I didn't know who he was. Monica, you should look him up later.
I'm looking
Listeners,
him up
look
right
up Mike.
now.
It's very strange. Every single kind of medium he's been into, and it's very.
Did the play
of that
remind you
school
of
of-
his videos or just his
Yeah.
work in general?
Especially his videos.
Okay.
Because of how ramshackle they are.
Yeah.
They're put
Okay.
together and they're just kind of making
Yeah.
blank, grand statements that don't really mean anything, like some animes
Just a
that I know.
Google search of his stuff, I'm looking at it going like, yeah, I could see the people in Borgman making this stuff.
It would have been great
It's
though if
definitely-
they had done something really bizarre, but of course it was only mildly strange. The whole movie was mildly strange,
I kept waiting too for the whole lake thing to be a big deal, like it was
Yeah.
going to be a fairy circle or something. Like I kept
know,
waiting
I was
for a
excited
reason
when
why
it
he was
happened.
making this lake, but I
Yeah,
think
what
it's
was
just
that all about? Why did they do
No, I think what it was, and he even says like, "Oh, I'm a gardener now." Like I think he just enjoys picking up these new lives. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a gardener, so I'm going to make like the best lake ever."
But
Like,
did they garden? What they put down or were
They
they just
made
preparing for their performance?
Well, I think what it was is like they needed a new gardener, so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna redo this whole yard, and I'm gonna play the part of a gardener because this is fun to me." While I'm plotting their murder,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
no,
like,
I got all that, but
Yes.
what were they actually doing to the garden? It didn't look like they did any gardening. They were digging stuff up and moving
well,
shit around.
they redid some plants and stuff, but mostly they were just putting in that lake.
And we should also say though that there's this whole thing about people with scars on their back, and it seems like the children, the Borgman's tribe, the fairies, the humans they decide to keep, they do some kind of surgery on their spine. Do you remember those scenes?
Yeah.
They were very brief, so I don't know what any of that means, but that didn't.
Yeah, everybody has a scar right on their scapula, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. But that brings them into the tribe. Again, this reminded me very much of a much more interesting film, Under the Skin. So, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that meant, but it was cool. Like, oh, you're part of the tribe.
It was cool.
It's part of like the induction
right.
ceremony.
Okay, so do we
give our
any of
final
us-
number ratings?
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with a 7. I still really love this movie. I do agree with Noel on some points, but still, just my love of fairy tales just completely trumps everything. And I still love how it's almost like Lovecraft. It's really hard to find good Lovecraft movies. It's also really hard to find good fairy tale movies. So when I do find one that is like, pretty and I think
That's
it's well
controversial.
done. Oh, I thought it was pretty, and I thought it was well done. It's just I didn't agree with everything within it, but still, I feel like it was like a good one. So I still love it. I'm still giving it a 7. Still not quite like an 8 or a 9, but it's definitely a 7.
What I was saying was controversial is that I think there are a lot of very good fairy tale movies. So I don't think we're missing any. But
I don't.
But we don't have a lot of European fairy tale movies, maybe because we don't.
What are your good fairy tale movies?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Well, that's one.
you haven't given her very much
Labyrinth
time.
regular type.
Huh?
Labyrinth regular type. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Have you seen Company of Wolves?
No, somebody told me about
I've
that.
been wanting to
yeah,
see
you gotta
that.
see Company of Wolves. My God, that's the ultimate fairy tale movie.
While I enjoy Labyrinth, I don't think it's that great. Like,
What?
sorry,
Wait, Pan's Labyrinth or just Labyrinth? Oh, the one with David Bowie.
David Bowie Labyrinth.
I love
It
so much.
delights me, but I don't think it's like I don't know.
All right, what about Legend?
No, like I love Legend, but I don't
Excuse
feel like
me?
it's a good
Whoa.
fairy tale movie. It's fun, but I don't put it with Borgman. I don't. Well, I guess what I'm looking for is like
Whoa.
modern fairy tales.
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth would be
Okay.
one, even though it's not completely
Sure.
modern. But still,
It's not modern.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
word for word.
But Monica, do you like the fact that it's far less literal? Is that what you like about it? That it's much more vague in terms of.
It's not so giant magic universe-scape. It's how I believe if fairy tales were true, this is how they would come about.
Right.
So that's why I like it.
Yeah.
It's not over the top like crazy Harry Potter. It's just down and subdued.
Sure.
Yeah,
the
I guess
creepy-
the bottom line of my complaint is it's too subdued. I actually wanted more, and I didn't want
Yeah.
psychological realism. I don't know why they went with psychological realism of the disintegrating couple screaming at each other, and why the IKEA interiors.
I think that's just her.
Yeah, I mean
that's a problem in a lot of horror films these days, where like
Yeah.
the sets are impossibly lovely and clean. Where
Yeah.
you know.
A lot of modern horror films, I'm like, nobody lives in this house.
that's interesting.
Like Orphan.
That's
It's,
the one thing. What was that one movie? Super 8. I didn't really like that movie, but man, when I looked at that house, I'm like, yeah, there are like 3 kids living here.
Yeah, that's that Spielbergian.
Yeah, that
He has-
Crystal
I
was
do
talking
love
about
this.
before how good Spielberg is at creating that. So I'll go up to like a 4, but I can't quite go to a 5. Oh, Crystal, did you give your? I'm sorry, did you give your rating?
Oh no, not yet, but you can go.
Yeah, I was just saying I'll bring it up to a 4, but I can't make
Okay.
it to a 5.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
One more thing, Monica, about good fairy tales that are modern day. I think what I totally agree, like that it's difficult to find something like that, and I think we mentioned it during the 31 Days of Horror. Hard Candy is a
Yeah, I was
perfect
gonna
one.
say.
Yeah. Hard Candy
That's-
was one I'm like, I couldn't think of many movies to recommend with this, and I'm like, no, Hard Candy.
Well, let's say to our listeners, if you have suggestions about good contemporary fairy tale movies that aren't like Harry Potter style, aren't Fantasias.
Yeah. Like,
Let us
I
know.
felt bad saying I don't like Labyrinth because I totally do, but it's not what I'm looking for
Sure. Okay.
in like one of these fairy tales. I like the more down to earth, realistic, but still with that slight mysterium.
Monica, have you seen Beasts of the Southern Wild?
Beast of us, no.
Oh man,
I think that'll fit the
it's
bill.
so amazing. Yeah,
That'll fit the bill.
that's another one for you that is in this. I would draw parallels from Pan's Labyrinth in that it's like through a fairy tale, accepting terrible realities through a child's eyes.
Okay. I wrote it down.
It's so wonderful. Like it makes my
I'll
heart
check
swell
it
when I hear the soundtrack. It's so good. It's really good. I think Noah, you kind of convinced me to drag it down a bit. I think I'm gonna leave it at a 5. Sorry, Mons.
No, that's cool.
initially-
I mean, like I said, I know the reason why I like it, but I do agree
Yeah.
with your guys.
I'm
the
the
only reason
Borgman
why it's dragged down-
of this conversation. I'm the demon that's
You're the
spoiling
Borgman.
everything.
I just felt like, more and more I talk about it with you guys, and, I had just seen it very recently. Structurally, it is a bit of a mess with not a lot of payoff. That being said, there are awesome things like all the parallels drawn to religious stuff and fairy tales, which I do like. I like some of the gore scenes and the dreams are really good. That's another moment of awesome when he just rips her thigh meat off. Amazing. It's so gross. But yeah, I'm going to have to put it at a 5.
Okay. And do you guys have
Yeah.
other recommendations for? Not like the one we're gonna watch next week. Just if you want something else. I guess we already said a few.
Have you seen
Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Yeah, Beasts of the Southern Wild. And have you seen? Oh, you know what? You guys talk because I have to find the name of it.
Okay. Well, my recommendations would be Hard Candy, or have you guys seen Tideland?
No.
It's a Gilliam movie.
Oh.
It's about like an orphan child, and you see kind of things in her mind, and it's very kind of Alice in Wonderland, kind of. I don't know if she's crazy or just a vivid imagination. A lot of kind of dream logic, surrealism. It's good.
It's
It's
a Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. it's good.
Cool.
Have
I'll
you
add that for
seen?
sure. And then I also add Time Crimes to that list for everybody.
I would
Time
definitely say
Crimes.
Company
Sorry,
of
go ahead.
Wolves.
Yeah, that one like somebody recommended it to me when I was talking about modern fairy tales.
And I do like Company of Wolves is directed by Neil Jordan, who did Interview with the Vampire and more importantly and better, what was the thing he did recently that we loved? Shit, hang on one second.
I don't know.
Byzantium.
Oh snap!
Oh, I
Which is like-
loved it. I loved
yeah,
it.
which is like
That's
one of.
another one of my 31 Days of Horror.
Okay,
Don't
well-
ruining everything.
But he's good. He did something called In Dreams. I don't know if you've heard of this. It has a
yes.
bit of a fairy
Yes.
tale. It definitely has it's a big. It's got a bunch of not metaphors. What was the word you used, Crystal? It's
allegories.
allegory. Yeah, I would
Allegorical.
highly recommend it. It has some fairy tale stuff in it, but In Dreams from '99 by Neil Jordan, and it's with Annette Bening and Robert Downey Jr. of all people. They're a very odd couple, but it's really I like it. It's
Yes, I saw this a long, long time ago in the theater.
Oh, you did. I don't know if it did anything for you.
I did.
So I think you might like
was
that,
too young.
Monica.
Okay.
But it has fairy tale aspects. I think all of Neil Jordan's films have fairy tale aspects. I think you could even say Byzantium to some degree, and
Yeah, I like.
Monica, we have to talk about Byzantium later.
Well, I was gonna do it for one of my 31 days.
yeah,
Okay,
Byzantium.
well, we're going to talk about it.
probably the best. I think it's probably the best vampire movie I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
was so blown away by that film.
I have a category that's like offbeat or different vampire stories.
It's certainly the best mother-daughter film I've seen probably
Yeah,
ever.
it's fantastic. I love. Yeah, I was
moving.
completely.
That part's so good.
I just randomly clicked on it one day and I was completely floored by that movie.
And the reviews were
You
so
watch it in a
mixed.
double feature.
Hmm?
Sorry, I was gonna say you watch it in a double feature with Only Lovers Left Alive, and you will have the most delightful vampire time.
Yeah, right, yeah. It's one of the best vampire
Have you-
movies I've ever seen. Let's just say that. And I love that.
So-
Anyway, yeah.
I was gonna say Brady is missing from our cast today, but we were gonna start a new segment called Brady's Horror Hottie of the Month. Since he's not here, Monica, would you like to take the
no.
honors?
You know what? I'll just say the one I was gonna jokingly say that he would do would be Jeffrey Combs.
And just
Um,
remind us who that he's an
he
actor?
is the fabulous man, most well known as the Reanimator.
Oh, okay.
He's in like every Cthulhu movie ever, every like Lovecraft movie. He's in the Necronomicon. He pops up in the new Dunwich Horror. Well, not new. It was the '90s. Well, the
You know, he
original.
looks so much like Scott Thompson to me.
He's fantastic, though. I love him. He's in everything. He's in The Frighteners. Oh, I'm trying to find his IMDb page right now. You kind of threw me off.
Sorry.
He's in a ton of stuff, though. I love him. But I was joking that he would be a
The DDB is his debut.
horror
So let's just
hottie?
officially make it. Yeah, let's make it his debut. Horror
Yeah.
hottie, because he's not here to say otherwise.
But I love him. I love Reanimator, and he's just adorable. And he always plays like the most bizarre characters.
He's better looking in real
Yeah.
life than he
Yeah,
is
he
in
is.
the
He's a lot
in
better.
the in
But
the,
he
in the
plays
films.
these always like crazy, creepy characters. Like the Frighteners, he's that weird FBI agent that looks like he's the bad guy in Roger Rabbit. But
You don't really think that? I didn't think Brady would pick a guy.
oh, I just imagined he would because we were talking about Fright Night. Like Brady will pick a guy.
Because it'll be hilarious.
Yeah,
that's
it'll
why.
be awesome. I'm trying to find more stuff he's in. He's in a ton of stuff. House on Haunted Hill, or Return to House on Haunted Hill, Masters of Horror. He plays Lovecraft in the Necronomicon movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Crystal, you need to watch that movie. I think I watched it on YouTube. It's like a 1980 movie. It's called Necronomicon. It's like three short stories.
He's very hard to recognize because he does. His face changes so much.
Yeah,
roll
he's
to
cool.
roll. It's
He
interesting.
actually plays Lovecraft in the Necronomicon movie, and it's a bunch of short stories, and it's one of those over-the-top, like, insane, like, Evil Dead style horror makeup, where it's just like the weird, goopy stuff for the blood and the clay, like the wax figures, and it's ridiculous and fabulous. You should watch Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. Okay. Right.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. I just watched it recently because
So-
my boyfriend is
So
a
Jeffrey
massive
Combs, we
Lovecraft
need a sound effect for the horror hottie of the month, like da 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 or something
Horror
hottier.
hottie.
But Jeffrey's
Yeah,
our
definitely. We
first
should come up
one.
with something.
Okay. And so Crystal, were you gonna do the next movie? I know you were talking about one in theaters. That's fine with me.
Yeah, you guys down for this?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking that we could do a very special in theater film.
Something
since
we all
I'm
desperately want to watch.
so desperately excited about Del Toro's Crimson Peak that's coming out next Friday.
So next podcast will be Crimson Peak. We will catch you guys then. Comment if you feel like we missed a movie that's like a good modern horror, or if you don't agree with our ratings, or if you agree with them, or if you watched BORGMAN and hated it or loved it, just let us know.
And
All
also
right,
listen to our other shows.
Yes, the 31 Days of Horror. We're doing something for Halloween right now. You need to check that out too. We will see you guys next time on What Doesn't Kill Us.
Thanks
All right.
for listening.
Listening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.